Are you worried about solo travel in Japan? Maybe you're nervous or have no one to travel with. What is it like being a solo traveler in Japan? The thing about traveling solo in Japan is that you might be surrounded by thousands of people like I am right now, but feel very lonely. Or do you have to feel very lonely when you travel solo in Japan? I don't know. This is my experience of traveling solo around Japan. I say this many times, the best time to go to Japan is when you can go to Japan, and unfortunately sometimes it's going to be on your own, and there's going to be a time when your friends or people just simply can't travel at the same time as you, and I don't think it's something that should hold you back, because traveling solo can be so good. It can be such a great experience. It can actually open up so many more opportunities compared to when you travel with other people. One of the great things about traveling on your own is that you get to choose what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. Obviously, it sounds obvious, but you don't realize how much freedom this actually brings until you're actually doing it, until you're actually traveling solo across Japan. A lot of people are worried about eating on their own or dining on their own or drinking on their own, and I can assure you that Japan is probably the best country in the world when it comes to dining by yourself. It's not seen as taboo, it's not something that's seen as strange. It's done very, very often by the local Japanese people themselves. Actually, many restaurants, many bars, many cafes will have set areas for solo travelers or for the solo diners, whether they're tourists or whether they're Japanese, it doesn't really matter. This country is set up for it. You'll usually be able to find a space at the bar, which usually, in my opinion, is the best place to actually eat or drink because you get to see everything. I know this is a little bit counterintuitive, really, because when you're traveling on your own, you really want to see as much as you can, but always head to the same locations. If you have an izakaya, if you're staying in a hotel and you have an izakaya near you, my suggestion is become friends with the locals there. Always at least have 1 or 2 drinks every evening. Before you know it, you'll be seeing the same people. By day 3, they'll be speaking to you, and you'll be definitely feeling less lonely. Talking about always going to the same places, that's exactly what I'm doing now. I'm gonna go to a spot that I frequently come to every single time I come to Asakusa. Will they remember me? Does the girl know me? I don't know, but let's go in and check it out. Hello. It's always so nice to come to the same places and see familiar faces. It's definitely something that I recommend. If you're traveling solo, you can make connections. They might not become your friends, but just having that moment of, a wave and seeing a familiar face can make such a big difference to your trip. Arigato. Arigato. Sitting at the bar on your own, hopefully somebody will come and sit next to me, but you'll always have the person in front of you to talk to, right? And if you're feeling a little bit down, get something that you love. In my case, it's always a melon pan, always. Always. The language barrier. Is there a language barrier in Japan? I ain't gonna lie, it can sometimes be tricky, but you just need to embrace it, and there are many things that you can do to make sure that you are comfortable trying to communicate. Yes, loads of places might not speak English. Some places might not even have English menus, but that's not to say that people won't try to help you. There have been many occasions where people have even walked me to locations when I've asked where a hotel is. They've actually taken me. This usually is more of a problem when you're in more rural locations, but I think being well prepared, using Google Translate, gestures, and also knowing some basic Japanese before you travel to Japan will make a huge difference. Actually, I made 2 videos with my friend Oriental Pearl on some basic Japanese phrases and words to help you out. So check that video out. It will definitely make your trip so much easier. Is Japan safe? Well, it's considered one of the safest countries in the world, but that's not to say that you shouldn't be careful and that you shouldn't be aware of your surroundings, especially when you're a solo traveler, because when you're a solo traveler, you might feel a little bit more vulnerable. You will be a little bit more vulnerable. Be aware of some dangers, and this all depends on the area of Tokyo or the area of certain cities that you might be visiting. For example, Shinjuku will see many touts trying to get you into bars, promising all sorts of things, from free drinks to beautiful ladies, etc. And you just need to be aware that these places might try to scam you. But ultimately, if you're going to travel solo in any country, this is probably the one to do it. This is probably the safest one. Ultimately, staying connected is even more important when you are traveling around Japan on your own, for emergencies, for communicating with hotels, making last-minute bookings, translation, and so much more, which is why I use Sakura Mobile, and I have an affiliate link that you can use too, not only supporting the channel, but also getting a great product that people in the Ninja Monkey community use quite a lot, actually. So check it out and make sure that you don't get lost, or at least have some way of communicating with others when you're solo traveling in Japan. Check out these creepy dolls. They want you to subscribe. Are you subscribed to the channel? I don't know, but they want you to subscribe. Public transport can be a little bit intimidating when you're traveling on your own, but you just need to remember that if you're well planned, if you look ahead, and if you actually look at the schedule and meticulously plan, if you're a nervous traveler, then you'll be fine. You'll have no problems whatsoever. I remember when I first came to Japan the very first few times, I used to actually write down all the alternative schedules, just in case I missed a route or I missed a train. I would be able to just go on to the next one without having to worry. So if you are apprehensive, worried, stressed about coming to Japan for the very first time, just plan really meticulously. In fact, I actually have a video playlist, which is a Japan starter kit with everything that you need to know, from traveling on the train, navigating Tokyo's train system, which seems to be complicated but actually isn't, to itineraries, places that you can go, things that you can see, everything that you need to get you started. Getting lost, yes, it can be very overwhelming, especially when you're on your own. But I just want to remind you that everyone gets lost. Even the most seasoned travelers at one point will get lost. So my suggestion is to move to the side where there's nobody, where you're not in the way. Take a deep breath, think, resettle yourself, use Google Maps, restart your route, or simply go to one of the ticket booths and ask, or the ticket gates, and ask for help. They will help you out. Last case scenario, go back to a familiar station and start again. Right, the next thing I would say is be prepared to change your plans. Don't be too rigid either. I know that I've just said that to meticulously plan, but at the same time, things can change. The weather can change, it can rain, there can be a typhoon, and everything might change. But don't worry, plan. And what I mean by plan is always have an alternative thing to do. I've been in many situations where the weather has turned and I've actually had to change my itinerary completely and move to a different location, escape a typhoon, leave a destination early. You might want to swap your plans around for a future day, keeping an eye on the weather, for example, yeah? So that's just some of the things that I've learned when I've traveled across all 47 prefectures of Japan on my own, pretty much on my own anyway. I remember the very first time that I came to Japan. I actually came as part of a tour group. There was about 12 of us, and I made sure to add 1 week extra to the end of the tour, so that I could actually have some time on my own. And that's actually a really good way of seeing a country like Japan. It will give you the opportunity to get to grips with the system, the transportation, not being alone, and then setting yourself free like a little bird, flying away from the nest. You'll be able to make sure that you have some time at the end on your own. So if you are worried about traveling on your own, then why not join a little tour group? It can be a little bit more expensive, but it definitely will give you the confidence that you need. Apart from that, we also have a Discord server in the Ninja Monkey community where lots of like-minded people actually get together, meet up, make plans, arrange to do things together. Loads of people have done it. So having access to the community will also mean that you're only a message away from me. Okay, accommodation as a solo traveler. Yes, this one's a big one. And pros and cons, obviously when you share with someone, things can be cheaper. But when you're traveling on your own, it doesn't mean that you can't get some good deals. My suggestion, if you're on a budget and if you are a solo traveler, is that you look out. Wow, loads of people. If you look out for some business hotels, specifically, those are the ones that are usually cheaper. I know that a lot of people go for capsule style hotels, but you'll find that capsule hotels might be comparable in price to business hotels, especially when you book in advance. A good option is to stay in hostels, although sometimes these hostels might mean shared bathrooms, shared showers, and that might be a problem. So just shop around and just make sure that you book in advance, plan in advance, check out and shop around for different prices. You'll be able to find something that works for you. There can actually be a little bit of a problem when it comes to staying in ryokans. Ryokan, which are Japanese traditional accommodations, usually might only cater for like bigger groups and might be a little bit more expensive. That's not to say that they won't cater for you at a price, but then again, like I've just mentioned, it's all about booking in advance when it comes to getting the best prices and getting the best locations too. And yes, many hotels in Japan are actually set up for solo travelers or businessmen or anyone really, with coin laundry rooms, which makes it really, really handy to do your laundry whilst you're on the go. Okay, money in Japan. This is the big one, kind of important, especially for first-timers. You'll find that there are many locations, especially outside of the big cities, in more rural towns, that will require you to pay with cash. So it's important to have some cash at hand before you go to these places. In the most part, in cities, you'll be able to pay your hotels, at major restaurants, department stores, etc., using your credit card, or even better, using Suica or an IC card similar to Suica. And in the event of needing to get some cash out, my recommendation is that you do so from convenience stores such as 7-Eleven at their ATMs. And if you can get yourself a international foreign currency exchange app like Revolut or Wise, those are just some examples. Those will also certainly help make your transactions easier. So a great way of making sure that you don't feel lonely is joining some, day tours or experiences. And I have actually used Klook quite a few times. There's an affiliate link if you want to use it, just mentioning it as an option for those of you who might be wondering how to meet other people and how to do something in a group and not actually feel alone if you're feeling that you're going to be worried about that. So maybe you've been planning or putting off traveling by yourself in Japan or anywhere else around the world as a solo traveler, and hopefully this video will put you at ease, or at least give you some mechanisms that you can put in place so you can be a more confident traveler. And if that's the case, please let me know in the comment section. And if you've actually traveled to Japan as a solo traveler on your own, let me know what tips you have for other like-minded people or people who are thinking about traveling to Japan for the first time on their own. On that note, thanks for watching, stay positive, and be a happy gaijin. Bye!